are not those of WKYU-TV, its management, or WKU.
All right, Hilltopper fans, welcome to another edition of Topper Talk, where we've sucked down at least 55 of our energies to get ready for tonight's midnight tip-off. In the house, the usual suspects, myself, Sean Williams, Shane Bearden, Woody White, and we got a special guest in the house to talk WKU hoops. He is the king of Lyon County, the unofficial mayor of Eddyville, and he's been known to make a big shot or two every once in a while in his playing days at WKU. We got Ty Rogers in the house.
Happy to be here.
Yes, thank you for being on the show. Everybody's pumped up about it, and everybody's pumped up about basketball. And we got a big game tonight, a big opening game at an awkward time. But I mean,
is there a game tonight?
Yeah, there is a game tonight.
I thought it was on Tuesday. I thought it was
Tuesday morning, but
okay.
That is true.
Ty, that's the first question. In your playing career, you ever had any awkward tip-off times like we're going to have tonight for this game?
I don't know if I've ever had any quite near midnight. I remember playing it in the morning a couple times, and those are always tough games. I think I'd much rather play, a midnight game than maybe an early morning game. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I know Harper kind of said that, this past week, saying that the kids staying up past midnight, his players, that's probably not going to be a problem. Of course, we all remember when we were in college, younger days.
I see all of them tweeting all the time, like 1 in the morning.
Exactly.
It
shouldn't be a big deal for them, but maybe Harper said
you shouldn't have a problem staying up either if you're.
I'll be enjoying it for sure.
But Harper said he might catch a nap, so hopefully he's catching a nap right now, and he's going to get the players ready to go for the midnight tip-off. So, big game against Wichita State, 15th ranked in the nation, a very tough place to play. And
shock the Shockers.
Yeah, shock the Shockers. And, we were kind of talking about it before we came on air, Ty. You played there in your career. Tell us about Wichita State and how tough it is up there to play and get a win.
Well, it's going to be extremely tough to come out with a win, no question. We played there. I actually don't remember. I think my sophomore years when we were there. But, the atmosphere, the crowd, it was as good of atmosphere as anywhere we played my entire career. Arizona, it ranks up there with it, and then of course the Sweet 16 game against UCLA probably tops it. But as far as just a home crowd atmosphere, it's a very tough place to play. But it should be fun. It makes for a very fun game, that's for sure.
Yeah, good deal. Now we kind of threw out some Twitter interactions, so you guys out there on Twitter, holler at us at TopperTalk TV if you got any questions for Ty, got any questions about WKU basketball, got any predictions for tonight's game. Shout at us at TopperTalk TV. We'll be happy to give those questions out on there. So just to continue with the talk, going into the game, obviously the big question is injuries. The injury bug's kind of already hit WKU this season before the game, the regular season's even started. Of course, the biggest one, you got Brandon Harris out, which we already knew that. But, of course, the newest one is Akaro Kamade is out with a broken foot. But I think the big question is going to be the Harris injury. Who's going to start at point guard? Is it going to be the walk-on freshman Brandon Price? Or could it be Kevin Caspar? What do you guys think?
Honestly, I don't know. Like we were talking about before the show, a lot of people think Harper is throwing Brandon Price out there as kind of a distraction. Maybe
giving the media a little bit.
Kind of giving the
little
media
nugget right there.
Media a little nugget, but he showed out in the Campbellsville game, and even Harper said after that game that he earned minutes, and it's somebody's going to have to come and take them from him, and if he has faith in starting a walk-on freshman in that hostile environment, I say go for it.
Yeah. What do you?
Like you said, I would have faith in Casper starting. He's played in big games before.
Yep.
He's not going to be an All-American point guard or nothing, but he would be the safe play. But the way Price played against Campbellsville, he looked more than capable to go in and, just be comfortable and run the offense. So, if Harper's got faith in him to do that, then we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to watch it for sure.
Ty, what do you think?
I'm going with Brandon Price. I think anytime a freshman comes out there and plays his first game, I know it was against Campbellsville, but if you play like that, I think you earn your minutes, and I think he earned the right to start tonight. And in my opinion, I think that's what happened.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about, his performance against Campbellsville. Of course, Harris goes down. Pretty much played almost the entire second half and played really well. And for being a walk-on freshman, it seemed like the game just kind of came to him. He didn't try to rush anything or force anything. Whenever he drove the basket, he waited for the right opportunities. He's just a hustle player, too, diving for balls and things like that.
30 seconds left in the game, still diving for loose balls.
Yeah, you got to love that about a player. Yeah, and I know you like that, Ty, and I think a lot of the fans like it, too. But, you get people out there that kind of say, what you guys have kind of mentioned, you're on the road, hostile environment, first game of the season. would you be more comfortable going with a player like Caspar who's been there before to kind of fill in? Or would you be more, and kind of throwing a walk-on freshman out there, kind of throwing him out there to the fire,
Well, I mean, I think Caspar is going to get his minutes tonight at the point, too. I think Peyton Halsey will get his minutes out there. And I think they're all going to get minutes. But, you need to play whoever puts you in the best position to win. And if you think that's Brandon Price, if he's controlling the tempo real well on offense and playing good D and not making mistakes, let him run with it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, too. I mean, despite the fact he's a walk-on freshman, if he's playing really well in practice and, goes out there in his first game, first action in the exhibition game, and plays the way he did, you got to think hopefully he can play that way against Wichita State, And the only way you're going to find out is to throw him out there and see how he does. So.
Well, and the Shockers are going to press. I mean, they're going to throw out some full court press and some trapping, and you kind of want your point guard out there. Not saying that Caspar doesn't have speed, but Price is obviously a step quicker than what Caspar is. So, it kind of helps to have a point guard out there that has more speed, that can maybe, help get the ball going in transition a little bit faster, especially against the press.
Yeah.
The thing I like to see so much is that he was just fearless. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, call him a freshman, walk on, whatever it may be, but when you're out there on the floor, I mean, you're all just players.
Yeah.
And that's what he did his first game. He just went out and played. I mean, you didn't see any fear. He didn't hold back. And, I mean, I think you'll see the same thing tonight. I mean, handling the ball is going to be extremely important. I think if we turn the ball over, it's just going to make it that much harder on us. But like I said, I think we'll see him start. I think we'll see him get a lot of minutes. And, of course, Caspar, I think, of course, to get a lot of minutes as well. But
yeah, I think, of course, after the exhibition game, Harper said, that play, the last 30 seconds of the game where he's diving for a ball, I said, that's Brandon Price right there. Yep. So, I mean, I think players like, energy and everything like that, and you got to take into consideration we got two high-energy guys that are going to be out, and Brandon Harris and Carl Kamane, too. So put that energy guy in there. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the starting lineup looks like whenever tip-off starts at midnight. So I'm curious to see how all you people out there in Hilltopper land are going to stay up for this game tonight. Going to get a nap in before midnight and everything like that.
I'll take a nap when I get home after the show. I don't know about the rest of it.
Are any of the restaurants staying open? Do y'all know anything?
Yeah, I think didn't somebody mention that?
I think Lost River Pizza is going to televise. I think Hilligan's and a couple other places are going to be showing the game.
Yeah, so we just named.
Probably won't go to Hilligan's, but I might have to get out of my house. I'm afraid I'll wake up my daughter yelling. So
yeah.
Maybe Lost River Pizza.
Okay, there you go. So you threw out some restaurants out there, and of course they're supporting the Hilltoppers, staying open a little bit later on a Monday night. So that's really a good thing to see the community support for the team and everything. But you guys mentioned it earlier, Wichita State, full court press, up-tempo team. Kind of the style we want to run and we're expected to run, but Wichita State's already been running it, and they run it really well. What's it going to take to kind of break the press? What's the keys to breaking the press like Wichita State's, Ty?
Sorry, I was reading tweets.
No, go ahead, read them if you want to.
Basically, you just got to do it as a team. I mean, you got to know. I played point guard, unfortunately, for one season, and
Unfortunately.
Topper fans had to struggle through that, and as did I.
Man, that Ty Rogers, man, he's not a point guard.
Turnover Ty, that's right. But anyway, the point is one player can't do it by himself. I mean, you've got to have multiple guys, just like we've talked about, Caspar, Price, and I think TJ's going to play a huge role with that as well. I mean, you got to find somebody in the middle and then look up the floor. Yeah. I mean, it's not about dribbling, trying to turn the ball a lot of times like that, because it's going to lead to a turnover. You got to pass the ball, get it in the middle, and just do it that way, I think.
Yeah, we kind of saw that whenever, they had practice open to the media. Whenever me and you went out there, Shane, that's one of the things Harper was working on. Obviously, already kind of prepping for Wichita State is how to break the press and, do the things that Ty said there. It's going to take a complete team effort to do it. But,
we're kind of talking about turnovers and things like that. Obviously we don't need to turn the ball over, but Atlee Brett wants to know what's the number one thing Western needs to do tonight in order to shock Wichita State.
Shock Wichita State.
Shock the Shockers.
Shock the
Okay.
Shockers. I think TJ's going to have a big game. I mean, I really do. I think, obviously, George, I mean, big games are something we've come to expect out of him, and TJ too. But I think tonight, specifically, TJ's really going to have a big game. The turnovers are going to be key. I know we've hit on that a lot. And the fact is, I mean, you're going to turn the ball over. I think we've got to go in and be the aggressor. I mean, a big crowd like that, all the noise, excitement, it can hold you back a little bit, and that can't be the case. I mean, our guys got to go out and be the aggressor and take it to them, and I hope TJ knocks down a lot of shots.
Yeah. What do you think the keys are for tonight's game?
Like I was saying, I think, hitting shots obviously is going to be huge. We're going to we're going to play up pace. They're going to try to speed us up. We're going to try to speed them up. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities with these new refs that, or new rules that college basketball is trying to put in place with the refs. And everything.
Or are you blaming it on the refs?
I'm not going to blame it on the refs. I'm just saying we may see a lot of free throws too.
Are you pointing fingers, man?
There was some game Saturday where there was 73 fouls called. So I mean,
that's nice.
The way the first couple
Sign
games,
of things to come, right?
Man, if we get 73 fouls at 12 in the morning, that's going to be a long night.
Everybody might be up till 4, right?
It might be, but we're going to have to hit free throws. I think that's going to be huge tonight for sure. Just with the way
Somebody's
things
gonna
are
need to call
going.
Buffalo Wild Wings and tell them to hit some
Hit
button.
the overtime button.
Get the refs to back off a little bit or something.
Hit the button. That's a great one, man. That's a great one. Well, speaking of Wichita State, of course, they haven't played any top competition yet. Imperial State is who they play. Emporia State. Now, I got a trivia question because we do this from time to time on the show when we have obscure basketball teams or football teams. If anybody can give me the nickname of Emporia State, holler at us at TopperTalk TV. The first one that gets the right answer,
I know it.
we'll give them a shout out.
I'm only good
on
at
the
these.
air.
This is 2 in a row that I don't know.
Y'all got these computers
Yeah, I
in
know.
front of me,
We're
so-
cheating, so yeah.
Well, I don't have to look at it. I know.
It's okay, man.
My grandparents
don't-
grew up in
Stop bragging and
or
boasting.
lived in Kansas.
Okay,
I used to go
it's
out
okay.
there, man.
All right, anyway, so if you can figure out the nickname of Emporia State, holler at us at
Good luck.
TopperTalk TV. So I'm sure somebody's looking it up on their computer right now. But obviously not top competition. They beat them 93-50. They caused, I think, 29 turnovers, got 29 points off those turnovers. So obviously, did what they were expected to do. The full court press obviously, helped out on those turnovers, and they converted points off those turnovers. And I think that's going to be a key tonight. It's like Ty said, you're going to turn the ball over, but you need to make sure that you don't get that Wichita State gets points off those turnovers. You got to man up on defense and play your game as well. So I think that's going to be a key to the game as well. And you got to stop Wichita
I
players.
think turnovers are part of the game, but I think the biggest thing that you can limit as far as turnovers go is unforced turnovers. Trying to make smart plays with the ball. If they force you, they're going to force turnovers. We're going to force turnovers. It happens, but it's
Turnover
limiting.
fight.
Yeah, it's limiting the mistakes that the unforced errors that we make. We just gotta. I don't know. I'm getting tongue-tied
Yeah,
here.
it's okay,
Help me
man.
out
You want
here.
me to save you? I'm coming
Save
in for
me,
the save.
Sean.
All
Save me.
Talking about the full court press, obviously something Western Kentucky wants to do and Ray Harper wants to do, but how much full court press do you expect to see from WKU tonight, Ty?
Well, I think it depends on how it goes in the beginning, obviously. I think it's something you'll see early on, and, hopefully it goes in our favor, and I think you'll continue to see that throughout the second half. But I think that's one of those things you just kind of gauge.
Yeah.
Especially with some personnel being out, you kind of got to give it a shot in the beginning, and hopefully you create some turnovers, and we can win the turnover battle, get some easy buckets, and then you go from there. I think, just my opinion, but you can't do it too much in my opinion, because if you get in a track race up and down, it could get scary playing in that building, and the way they can shoot the ball, the way they handle the ball. So you have to see how it goes. Hopefully we'll see some success early, but time will tell.
And obviously, I guess one of the keys to setting up a full court press or doing it yourself is making shots. Then that way
Yeah.
you can actually set up. So like we mentioned earlier, it's going to be important to hit shots to set up a full court press. But like you said, we've got, 2 guys already out, and we got Trinity Jackson, Chris Harrison-Docks that are, going to be eligible to mid-season. So maybe our horses aren't there that we wanted it to be at the beginning of the season. So it's going to be important for us to kind of pick and choose when we full court press, I believe.
Right.
So you bring up a good point there. So, let's talk about some of Wichita State's key players. They got Clee Anthony Early, and they've got Fred Van Vliet.
Good job with the
Yeah,
names.
thanks, man.
I'm claiming that I'm related to him, by the way.
You are?
My dad's side of the family, there's some Van Fleets in the family. So
Oh,
I'm
are
gonna
they
say
Van
he's-
Fleets or Van
Well,
Fleets? Because this
we
is
may
a
have-
Van Vliet.
We may have came over here and changed a letter or something.
Okay.
Make it more American. I'm just saying.
It happens in transition,
That's
right? But yeah, obviously Van Vliet replaced Malcolm Armstead last year, and he's a really good point guard. He had 12 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and 4 steals. And in limited action last year, he was a really good player, really good 3-point shooter. So I think you got a really good point guard who can really stretch the floor out and everything like that. So Wichita State's got some really good players on their team that we got to watch out for, and we really have to defend well. Their guards early. Can you see like a George Fant maybe probably guarding early?
I would say so. Between him and Aaron, I think them two are that's gonna be a fun matchup.
Yeah,
everybody's
yeah,
a good
it'd be
player.
fun to
but,
watch.
between George and Aaron, both, I think we're pretty dynamic at that position too. So I'm excited to see whoever is in for us matching up with him. It's gonna be a good battle.
From Aaron tonight.
I think so.
I thought he played well against Campbellsville as well. I mean, obviously, it's a different level of competition, but, he showed that he can rebound the ball and, put the ball back up in the basket, so I'm looking forward to...
What's the better level of competition, Campbellsville or Emporia State? It's a hypothetical question, man.
Actually, I think Campbellsville is.
Okay.
Campbellsville's a top 10 NAIA team. They got a Darius. We were talking about that. Pagese.
Yep, there you go. Got a top player in him.
Former teammate of yours.
That's right.
Yep, former
Now
teammate
playing
from
for
Macon.
Campbellsville.
Yeah. Who would have known? 6 degrees of separation, right? But, no, I just threw that hypothetical out there because, like I said, Campbellsville and Emporia State, not top-notch competition, but like I said, it's why it's on level playing field, I think, going in. So, we kind of talk about, we talked about a little bit of defensively, but what are the other keys defensively you guys see for tonight's game? What are some things WKU has to do defensively?
Limit second chance points, I would say, is a big one, especially with them down the low post, just trying to grab the defensive rebound and not let them get the ball back.
Yeah. What do you...
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, like rebounding is going to be huge. That's why I bring up Aaron. I think he's going to
Yeah.
be a big player tonight. I think, to have a guy like him who knows that rebounding is his role on this team, I think that's going to be big in the game like this where early, he tries to get a lot of his points on second chance opportunities. So limiting those offensive rebounds by them will be huge for sure.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ty.
That and just contest the three, I think. You got to limit the runs in a game like this, and obviously now the three ball is something that can hurt you, and I think if we limit their threes, contest their threes, and then rebound the basketball, it's going to play in our favor, obviously.
Yeah. Of course, we were talking about Aaron Adeoye, and, kind of another question to throw out there, the new guys. How do you think how do you kind of see them kind of factoring into this? We've already kind of talked about Price, but you also got Dowda that will come in and see some
Samara.
action. Yeah. You're our go-to guy on pronunciation, Shane.
You did a pretty good job with Wichita
Thanks,
State
man.
players,
Appreciate
so
it.
we'll
But
defer to you for
what
this
do you
episode.
What do you guys see from Aaron? Obviously, I think a good thing about Aaron is, his mindset and his mentality after the Campbellsville game. He said, I need to be the rebounder. He's like, that's going to be my role. That's going to get me in the starting lineup. That's going to get me playing time. So I think it's really good to see him have that mentality of wanting to grab those rebounds because that's something we really honestly need.
Yep.
But what about the other guys? Dowda, Brandon Price, Peyton Halsey?
I could see Halsey playing a role tonight, especially, being down Brendan Harris. Halsey brings a different dynamic to the point guard position because he's got height and length from the position. He can rebound the ball well out of the guard spot. So, I think he can defend pretty well too. So, I could see him, being a big factor tonight on that end as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, we haven't seen – Harper's not the kind of coach that's going to shy away from throwing his new guys in there. We saw a lot last year. He experiments around with lineups, plays with what he's got and, sees what people can do.
That was a big experiment last year.
Yeah, there were a few experiments for sure. But
he kind of had to.
I think we'll see, a lot of people get some action. Like I'm anxious to see if Ben Lawson gets on the floor.
Yeah.
Well, Nigel Snipes.
Yeah,
a lot of people
I
are forgetting about
I
him
still
coming
forget
back.
about
But
Nigel.
I was gonna throw that out there. The guys coming back from injury. You got Caden looking healthy, and you got Nigel Snipes back. I mean, those are key guys right there. You had Caden looking really good, not wearing the shoulder sleeves,
Yep.
and out there throwing down some 3-pointers. His shot looked really good against Campbellsville. So I mean, that's another important factor. And you got Nigel Snipes back in the field as well. So. Really look at it all around. You talk about Brandon Harris and Common A being out, but you look at the lineup, it looks really solid for WKU. And
It's nice to have injury problems but still have depth.
yeah,
at the same
exactly.
time.
We had that problem last year. So we got an interaction on Twitter. Wally Ranto. I'm hoping I'm saying that name right, but I like the Twitter handle. It's Trailer Pimp 1. I like that.
Nice.
He asked us, how does Wichita State compare to VCU that we played last year?
I think it's they both press and stuff, but it's a completely different type of press. It's a completely different type of defense. Wichita State, is more of a, just putting pressure on the ball and kind of forcing you to turn it over and make the mistake, whereas VCU is that havoc defense that's all in your face the whole time. And, it's a little different, but, they both like to get up and run up and down the court and score in transition. I don't know, maybe which team is better, but let's hope Western's a little better this year and
I think they're
gets
both
a
pretty
little
good.
closer result than what we got against VCU.
Ty, you got any input on that?
Well, you hit it dead on the nose. I mean, VCU just likes a wild game. I mean, they like to get up in you and make you turn the ball over, and just back to your unforced turnovers. That's exactly what you're talking about earlier, and that's what VCU does a great job. I think Wichita State, when I see them, they're just a very sound basketball team. They do get up and down the floor, but you don't see them make a lot of mistakes. And I know we keep harping on that, but it's just it's going to be coming down to the turnover battle. I think you've got to limit those and at the same time create some of your own. And this is kind of off that subject, but I was going to also say I think that Caden, I failed to talk about him earlier, but I really think he's going to be a big factor tonight as well. I mentioned TJ, but one thing for two reasons. I mentioned the threes, and I think if Caden can come in, knock down some threes, it would help us go on some early runs ourselves. And then the second big part of that is Brandon Harris was such a good rebounder for us, I mean, from that guard position. And that's something that Caden could easily come in. I mean, he's got some size, some strength, and I think we're going to need some rebounding from him as well.
Yeah, it's kind of an overlooked factor for Harris. I mean, you think how many times he was a leading rebounder for this team last year, being at the guard position late. And, you know, like we've kind of mentioned before, you know, hustle guy. Fortunately, he's going to be out, but obviously, hopefully Caden can come in. We just mentioned he's healthy, looked really good against Campbellsville. Hopefully he can fill that role of being a rebounder and a three-point shooter as well. His three-point shot looked really good against Campbellsville, so we got to be pleased about that.
He's really put in a lot of work. I mean, I've been around Diddle quite a bit in the off season and even in the earlier this year. And I mean, he is putting in work. It seems like when I go in there, he's always working on his shot, staying after practice, things like that. And it's encouraging to see guys do that.
And we got, speaking of that, Glasgow Top asked a question. Would like to get Ty's assessment on the 2013-14 season for the Hilltoppers.
Well, I mean, I'm expecting big things. I mean, I'll be honest. The talent is there. Obviously, we've seen what Harper can do when he puts some talent with him, and I mean, there's no telling what's possible. I mean, that guy wouldn't surprise me of anything.
Yeah.
I think as you see TJ and George just continue to gain more and more experience, you throw Trincy in the mix whenever he gets back. I mean, it could be a very special year.
I think it's impeccable timing that Chris Harrison-Dox and Trincy Jackson will be back for the Louisville game.
Oh yeah,
that'd be definitely a great added factor, and especially a tough road game against Louisville too. So
I know this is.
Go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say they announced today that Shane Bohannon's back.
no.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about that before. How long
Shocker.
it would be. It took a whole week, I think.
Oh, really? No kidding. I think I saw where it was like maybe 25 days or something. But it doesn't surprise me none. Were you gonna say something, Shane?
I was just gonna say, you know, talking on the subject of, all those guys getting older and getting better. We were kind of talking about it before the show. I know this is kind of getting ahead of the game, but with Western going into Conference USA next year, kind of give us, your opinion on maybe what it would have been like to play in a basketball league like that as opposed to, playing in the Sun Belt. And
Well, I always enjoyed playing in the Sun Belt for what it was when I played. I mean, it's hard to believe, but it's been 5 going on 6 years since I graduated, and the Sun Belt has changed a lot, and so has Conference USA. And the way I view that is it seems like so many of Sun Belt teams are moving to Conference USA that you just don't want to be one of those guys that's left behind.
Yeah.
And so I'm very excited about the move to Conference USA, and I think it's something that we have to do, and I'm excited about the competition we're going to see in Diddle. I mean, it's going to be, I think it's
you
going to
got
make
old
for a fun
rivalries
year.
with
Oh, yeah.
UAB and Old Dominion and
Yep.
some good teams with Southern Miss and Charlotte and people like that.
That's right. My old teammate, shout out to Adam Howard, is at Southern Miss now, so
Yeah, I
get to play him.
I think it'll be fun, to see new teams come in and like you said, Shane, a better basketball league, in a lot of people's opinion. Ty, I can't believe you didn't mention the the hype atmosphere at Louisiana Monroe on those road games.
That's right.
I'm sure those will be missed by WKU basketball teams.
All 14 fans.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
All 14 fans. All right. So, anyway, you're on the show. Of course, people are going to ask you this question, but here we go. Can
Okay.
Ty Rogers walk
What
us
are you
through?
going to ask me, I wonder?
Walk us through the shot. That's
Well,
a
as a
Walk you
prequel,
through
as
the
a
shot?
as a prequel to that question, how long has it been since you've had to buy a beer in Bowling Green since that shot?
Well, that kind of faded away pretty quick.
I kind of forgot about that.
So you just want me to walk through it, I guess?
Tyler Waddell wants you to walk through the shot.
All right, well, I can handle it. Basically, it's a back-and-forth game. I mean, a wonderful game for everybody to watch. It's a classic. I mean, I still see it every now and then on the ESPN Classic channel. But we were down, y'all remind me, we were down 1. That's right, we're down 1 with 5 seconds left. And it's just, the thing I remember most is sitting in that huddle. And, I mean, you can imagine in a moment like that, everybody's trying to get a word in. I mean, Coach Horn's honestly a little nervous, shaking on the board, trying to draw up a play, and we're all just tons of excitement. I mean, you live for moments like that, and I can remember looking at Matt Maresca, and all I can do is smile because I'm thinking we're about to win the game on a last-second shot. I mean, I really, in my mind, I truly thought that. I never dreamed it would be me, but I knew that we deserved it. I mean, the group of seniors that we had, I mean, we had put in so much work for so long, and Then we went out on the floor, and I mean, everybody's seen it at this point. Yeah, I mean, told Tyrone, don't be afraid to kick it to me. And sure enough, he drew 3 defenders and kicked it back, and God allowed me to put the ball in the hole.
There you go. And mad chaos ensued, right?
That's right.
Well, definitely a shot that Western Kentucky fans will remember for a long time. Of course, you won the ESPY Award, too.
That's right.
So what was that like going up there and hanging out at the ESPY Awards? Was Jay-Z and all them people up there?
It was unbelievable, man. From Eddyville, Kentucky, it's something that just seems surreal. I mean, there's so many stories. I mean, we'd have to have a whole show to discuss some of those stories. But one I always like to tell is we're on the red carpet, and I get out my camera out of my pocket and I start to take all these pictures, and there's media everywhere. I mean, red carpet, as you can imagine, and some like rep walks up to me and they're like, dude, put that camera, people are taking pictures of you. You don't need to be taking pictures out here right now. And so I was like, all right, whatever. trying to get some memories, but it's just, I don't know. I felt kind of out of place the whole time, but it's something I'll never forget. Actually, I got engaged to my wife while we were out there, and
There you go.
and not positive yet, but I believe we've been invited back next year, so
Okay.
we'll see if
Sounds
that works
great.
out.
Yeah,
But
sounds
might get to
great.
go to the show again next year.
Well, speaking of name dropping, man, Hilligans follows us on Twitter now.
I know, I
so
just saw that.
congrats, Shane, on that name drop.
Shout out.
And congrats to Hilligans for being one of the patrons here in Bowling Green that will be staying open late.
That's
and,
right.
providing Hilltopper fans with good enjoyment. So, but yeah, great to win the ESPY. And like I said, I'm sure, being in a situation like that was kind of surreal, being around all those athletes and, famous people and
yeah.
everything like that. So.
Got to meet Dr. J. That was probably one of the
I
coolest
watched the
people I
Dr.
met.
J documentary last night.
Put
It
my
was
arm
really
around
cool.
Jerry Rice at one moment. What are you doing?
You didn't ask him for permission first? You just kind of went up and...
Well, anyway, sounds kind of weird, but I thought it'd be cool if I touched Jerry Rice. So I was like, hey, man.
Greatest wide receiver in NFL history.
right.
So, you guys got anything before we go? You want to talk football? Want to talk football?
Man,
for a second?
we can talk about football. I just want to say, I've talked about it
Go
before on the
ahead.
show. I think my favorite moment from that season, I don't know if I'm sure you remember it, but it was the whiteout game here
Oh,
when
yeah, I
you
remember.
dove over the score table and then
Oh,
stood up on the
yeah.
crowd. I think that's my favorite moment of
I didn't
being,
make a shot after that either.
Well,
We ended up getting beat. But
Messed up your shot, huh?
I hadn't missed to that point, and then I didn't make after that. So maybe I shouldn't have dove into the stands.
Yeah. So I mean, tell us, your whole career. What are some of the best memories you've had? Just aside from
My
the shot,
goodness.
obviously, but what are some other
Conference
ones?
championship my senior year, I mean, that's number one. That's even bigger than the shot. I mean, it just goes back to, I don't know, I mean, everybody probably followed our season that year, but, I mean, we just came so close time and time again. Almost beat Arizona at Arizona. Tennessee's ranked in top 5, top 10 or something. We have them beat. They end up beating us in the last few minutes. It just seemed like we always got just this close and couldn't get over the hump. And I think when we won that conference championship, it meant so much to Courtney and, I mean, on down the line. Tyrone, myself, I mean, all of us. So.
All right, sounds great. Well,
Yep.
we got less than a minute left, so we definitely appreciate Ty being on the show and sharing his thoughts and insights for WKU basketball, and we're getting hyped for the midnight tip-off tonight.
Quick
Shane.
shout out to WKU football for beating Army this weekend, since we didn't get to talk about you on the show today.
It's all right.
Bowl eligible.
They're bowl eligible, but how many games do you think they need to win to
still
be
need to
8.
win the rest
Still
of
need to
them.
win 8.
I think they need to win 8 too. I think 7-5 is going to be iffy, but anyway, shout out to you. Hey, shout out to the Hilltopper fans. Midnight tip-off. Stay up. Drink your 5-hour energies. Drink your coffees. It's hoops time,
And go
baby.
Tops.
Go Tops.
Thank you, guys.
On the next Main Street, Preserving Heritage. We'll head to Boyle County and visit the Perryville battlefield to experience Kentucky as it existed in 1862. Next, we visit artist Russ Walkup, who's preserving Fort Knox one floorboard at a time. In Hopkins County, we find a group of women who pride themselves on piecing together